Okay, excellent marks for this one. Really good marks. 4 marks. Straightforward. Functions. Okay, inverse functions. Nice one. So, first question, we've got f of x, find f of negative 1x. Now, there's a few different ways to do this. I quite like to just start off by saying that y is equal to 3x plus 5. So that's my function. Instead of f of x, I'm calling f of x y, because that's the output. And then I'm going to rearrange. And I'm doing that again, but I'll do some blue, so why am I doing this in red? Because then you won't see the marks as well. So y is 3x plus 5. Because that's just a fancy way of saying y, isn't it? My function was, respect to x, okay, but it's just the output, isn't it? So y take away 5 is 3x. So y take away 5 divided by 3 is equal to x. And at this point, I'm then going to say, okay, well, instead of x, that's actually my inverse function. So f negative 1 of x. And instead of y, I'm going to say that that's my new x. So that's x take away 5 divided by 3. I think I might actually scroll down and just put that in a... I can drag this. Oh, why can't I drag that? Anyway, in fact, I'll just write it below, just so it's on a nice... So you can see it, sorry. Okay. So f negative 1x is equal to x take away 5 over 3. So I've changed the y to an x, and I've changed my x to be the inverse function. And all this means is, if you put a number in here, the number you get out would be the same as if you put a number in here, you get it. So let's just to show you that if I put in x is equal to 1, I'm going to end up with y is equal to 8. So what should happen then with my inverse is if I put in x is equal to 8, I should end up with 1 out. So 8 take away 5 is 3. 3 divided, yeah, absolutely, that makes sense. So that's saying that if x is equal to 8, y is equal to 1. That's what your inverse functions do. So there's lots of different ways to do it, but yeah, that's the way I would suggest. So put your y equals, rearrange it, and then f negative 1. So your marks for that, you're getting your mark for your first rearrange, then you're getting a mark for your second rearrange, and then your final mark here for using the proper notations. Don't forget to change that back to x. Pretty good 3 marks, given that this is almost a national 4 skill. Okay, very nice. So put the line down here. The only other thing I'll just note is when you're doing f of x and f negative x, all that really means is if I draw a nice 45-degree line up here, y equals x, if I have a function that looks, say it looks like, I don't know, looks like that, say that's my f of x, the inverse function is reflected about this line. So if I've got f to the negative 1x, it's going to look something like that. Okay, so it's, when you're thinking about this as well graphically, it's mirrored along this line here, and if they meet, they will meet on that 45-degree line. That'll be the point of crossover. Okay, so just if you're thinking about it. And the very last one, if g of 2 is 7, write down the value of g to the negative 1 of 7. Well, we've not been told what g to the negative 1 is. We've just been told what f is. And all this is really saying is, do you understand what's going on with these functions? So yes, if I put 2 in and get 7 out, it means if I was to put 7 into the inverse, I would get 2 out. The points change. So that's kind of like saying if this was, maybe I'll use my g of x actually. If this was, let's just say that, well done, do that. What have you done? Oh, there we go. I'll use the green. So say that was your g of x, and this one was g negative 1x. It's saying if you put in a value of x of 2, you're going to get y of 7. So maybe that coordinate there is 2, 7, which means on my other graph, I'm going to end up with 7, 2. X would be 7 and y is 2. So that's all that's saying. If you put in x is 7, what's your y going to be? It's going to be 2. It's going to be the opposite way around. So for that one, just quite simply 2. But just to make sure you get the marks, I would write the full thing. G g to the negative 1 of 7 is going to be equal to 2. So it's just, one line of working, but make sure you answer the question, fully. I would just put the full shebang.